Hi everyone, Teddy Baldassar here at the IWC booth at Watches and Wonders, joined by CEO Chris Granger. Good to see you, sir.
Good to see you too. How are you?
Thank you for taking the time. And this year, lots of newness, things that are improved upon with existing collections, and a lot to talk about with different subjects, but maybe where to start over in front of you. So La Petite Prince collection people know about, the connection that you have to this sub-collection, but can you tell us a little bit more about the refresh for 2026?
Yes, absolutely. We are celebrating 20 years of Le Petite Prince partnership, really going all the way back to 2006. And here we have a complete collection lineup that actually takes a little bit of the space color code into the pilot's line, and then that golden accent that really is Le Petite Prince. And then even we've gone beyond the pilots and just have a Ere de Portofino day and night where the little prince actually stands on the planet. And it just brings this kind of philosophical, poetic side of pilots. Antoine de Saint-Exupéry was actually a pilot himself, bringing that into that space topic and just humanizing that, edge and frontier a little bit that is in these kind of harder engineering watches.
Portofino, and then we mentioned pilots. So we see the 36 also.
Yeah, ranging really all the way across the diameters from a 36 automatic. First time we are putting a new version into 36 automatic with a beautiful Petite Prince engraving on the back. Then we have the 40 automatic, both in stainless steel and gold. Absolute classic, beautiful ergonomic on a blue rubber strap with the ease exchange. And then both the chronograph 41 and 43 millimeters, and this one is the 43 millimeter model. Beautiful classic free counter layout, day date, and then again a blue tinted glass sapphire case back with that little Prince print on, which looks absolutely stunning. And then bringing really as a bridge to the space topic, the blue dégradé dial on what used to be the Lake Tahoe chronograph. So this is now a white ceramic Le Petite Prince with that black to blue dial, beautiful assurage on it. And then you see on the back again, engraving, quick exchange system in the rubber strap, just a beautiful all-rounder, great sports watch.
And then you're seeing a transition in the color of blue. So over here, for the 41 and the 43 chronograph, the 40 millimeter Mark 20, 36 millimeter has more of a general sunburst effect. This has what you mentioned, more of this like black to blue effect finish. So this collection in general, they have this relationship. Like, what does this really serve as this for IWC in terms of the pillar of the brand?
I think, as I said, it's when you talk about engineering, it's often on the one hand the material and the innovation side, and on the other hand really the human story behind. And Le Petite Prince is a story that connects to so many people on so many different levels all around the globe. And it's been a true classic, and I think we want to just bring this a little bit into the modern era, connect it to the space topic, and really create a beautiful story there.
Now, speaking of anniversaries, you have one on your wrist. We have some other big things to talk about. 1976, 2026, big year there, huh?
Yeah, 50 years of gel genter design for the Ingenieur SL. Many things to come this year. Of course, one of the additions we're presenting this year is really that extension of the Perpetual calendar. We had the automatic 40 in the titanium finish, quite matte on the dial, and now adding the Perpetual calendar complication to it with sapphire caseback, caliber 82. And then the sub-counters really bring a bit of pop, they bring a bit of light to the dial, and it just comes really nicely balanced, and obviously feel the weight. This is light.
It's amazing. And like this one, titanium, obviously. We've seen the titanium in 2023 be released, but now in this Perpetual calendar, taking what you did last year with the Perpetual calendar in steel and now bringing this forth here. And then what I like about this too is you're kind of infusing all these different elements. You have Kurt Claus, you got Gerald Genta, and you got Albert Peloton all in like one singular form, which is pretty impressive.
That's very true, yeah. Very true.
So that's the 41 millimeter case, and then
and the 42.
A drastic contrast from titanium here, huh?
The new range topping, 235 grams of gold in that strictly limited Ingenieur Flying Tourbillon in the Tourbillon automatic. So beautiful green dial. You have that fully integrated case in the 5N gold, and then tourbillon stop at 6 o'clock. Stunning olive green dial, open case back, gold rotor, and you can feel the heft of that.
A little bit different than titanium. This is a two-hand, that's a one-hand watch for picking that one up. And then you also have a green ceramic piece as well for this year.
Extending the black ceramic into green with gold accents, beautiful finish as well. And then of course on the Ingenieur as well, new reference in the 35 millimeters you'll discover.
Yeah, in blue now. So completing that blue collection cohesively.
Exactly.
So here, let's talk about Big Pilot, and this is also another big improvement here that we're seeing across the board with the Pro Set, right?
Exactly. So Perpetual calendar is really part of IWC's DNA all the way since Kurt Klaus invented our program wheel Perpetual calendar in 1985, and really the idea is to have one central program wheel that gives all of the calendar information to the entire movement in the module and really being controlled just by a single crown. Now, Kurt's movement was a lever and gear and pole movement, meaning that it was very good at going forward, but like many Perpetual calendars, you can't really go back across the date line without getting it stuck or desynchronized. And we've improved on this here by having a fully geared system that's fully synchronized, and that now allows us to really go forwards and backwards across the date line, all the way back to the year 2000, 1st of January, or all the way forward to 2799. So if you do want to check what date it was, what day of the week it was on the 1st of January 2000, now you can with this one.
There's always a sense of panic when somebody gets a Perpetual calendar of setting it incorrectly. So this is actually, as a user of a Perpetual calendar, a big value add.
Yeah, and we've used like a new manufacturing technology to actually be able to make very intricate gears that have flexible teeth on a suspension system. And that means now we can have tested that crown up to 6,000 RPM, so that's 100 revolutions a second, and you still won't synchronize, desynchronize, or break the movement. So amazing usability, really easy to read, really easy to adjust. And then that 42 millimeter size, very wearable again on these exchange, so you can at one touch of a button exchange a metal bracelet for the rubber strap, and so very easily reconfigurable and just a great all-rounder.
And then also available here, we have a ceramic piece.
Yeah,
this is also getting the Pro Set as well, correct?
Yes, this is also the Pro Set. This is 43 millimeter ceramic. So here we're picking up the color code from that ceramic, more space-inspired Petite Prince, and again on a rubber strap, very sporty, very variable in 43 millimeters, and it's actually flatter than our 41.9 millimeter chronograph.
So hitting all spectrums of the La Petite Prince. Now, we see a lot of white cases, but there's one on here that might be a little more
Whiter
interesting to talk about.
Yes.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit more here.
Yeah, so this is really unique. This is our first ever commercial piece of our absolutely proprietary Ceralume material, and it's the first fully luminous ceramic case ever. So when you think about luminous elements in our industry, often it's some sort of composite material, which means we're putting lume into some sort of plastic to make it shine. And I saw that the Superluminova, that luminous material, actually behaves very much like ceramic. It's also a sintered material. And I was always wondering whether you could actually make a case out of that. But Superluminova is super porous and super brittle and very sort of uneven in texture. And we then really gave that to our apprentices. And our apprentices tried for a year and a half to actually machine this into a case and bind it completely or bond it with ceramic. And the outcome in the end is a completely evenly distributed effect across the ceramic, and you have the first solid, fully luminous watch. We're combining that with a luminous dial, luminous moons, even a luminous medallion, luminous strap. And that really means in the end that you have a very architectural way of luminosity, and you can see really when the black light is on, that you now get the full contrast in night mode. Then the Superluminova actually reveals the contrast, and you have that beautiful even glow all around the case, 8 hours luminosity at night. And if you have this in complete darkness, it's absolutely stunning to see.
Wow. When you were developing these cases, because we got to tour your facility last year, and we got to see how these blocks are made for the ceramic and how the cases are constructed. Like when you're adding like heat in the sintering process, like when you're adding this new material, what were some of the obstacles that you had to overcome there?
Well, it's very hard to sinter evenly, and it's very hard to machine afterwards. So all the first cases really just snapped. And when you get to the finer detail of the bezel, it really doesn't hold. And we had to work out how to make it very stable, how to make it machinable, and then how to get a really even distribution of all the luminous material. That is a challenge. In the beginning, they were quite cloudy. And then when you think about the dial, actually the moon phases and the year display is all different degrees of luminosity. So you have to put different thicknesses of Superluminova to actually get an evenly distributed look and feel, so that in the end the whole thing is balanced. In the beginning, the dial really outshone the moons, or then you get no brightness in the year display because those discs are hardly hidden, so you need to work a lot harder there to get more luminous material on that versus a dial to make sure that the overall effect you're getting feels balanced again.
That's beautiful. Bravo. I had this you put this under the table.
I know,
it looks like an optical illusion.
It's quite
you have
effect,
it under there.
Isn't it? Yeah.
Incredible. One final white case. Now, if you look at the overall theme of the booth, you can see how this is dramatically tuned, and it's just tied to what is being presented here. So this is your vertical drive.
It is.
This is my first time actually handling this watch. You're gonna have to show me how it works. I understand this pusher system, but tell us a little bit more about this, and then you also have this collaboration that you've been working on that we'd like to talk about too.
Yeah, so having a history in pilot's watches for 90 years, we really thought this is a great opportunity to take the pilot's watches to space. And the dawn of that next space age really is a much different space age from the previous one. So no longer are we talking just about buzzcut jet fighter pilots in the space race. We're talking about much more inclusive, much more commercial, touristic, research and development, science and in-space production. And for that, we really felt we wanted to go and really design a watch from the ground up for the demands of human spaceflight. Not a pilot's watch that's been converted, like our first watches that went to space, but really something that fits the demands of spaceflight and that is designed also in the spirit of that new, sleek and inspiring design language that we see in companies like VAST. Now, VAST is the provider of the first ever commercial space station. So they're sending Haven 1 up into space next year, which has the aim of ultimately replacing the International Space Station, which will be deorbited in 2030. And we worked with VAST really on a design that is completely fluid, that has nothing sticking out on the leading edge as you're working your way around microgravity. You don't want to bump into things, you don't want to cut any materials, you don't want to damage anything. And that led us to this crownless design, also that if you're wearing gloves, you can still manipulate the watch. So the idea here is that everything is controlled via the bezel. So counterclockwise is winding on the bezel, and then you have two rocker switch positions here. Switch mode 2 sets the entire master time system, 12-hour hand, 24-hour hand, and the date across the date line. This you typically set your home time to. So you make sure that your 24-hour hand here really displays your home time, and then you go into switch mode position 1, and that just gives you the hour offset that actually sets the UTC local mission time, typically UTC in a space station, which is the reference time when you're working in space.
That's very cool. And they need to have that mission time because they have no sense of,
exactly. And
day
it's
and
always,
night.
again, about this human connection of, referencing back home. It's always important for astronauts to have this link. And today, in the requirements of these space watches is no longer chronographs, because all of the mission timing elements, interval timing, is done via the digital systems and done via ground control. Really, what VAST is working on with us is really to reduce the display to make it as pure as possible and really just give essential information, 2 time zones, very sleek, open dial, and not too much information.
Chris, thank you very much for going through all of this. A lot to cover here this year, and congrats on all the new novelties. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.